Hi guys, so I thought I'd come outside today and try to read Stuart Little to you all because it is so beautiful today. I hope that everybody got outside and ran around and had lots of fun today. Alright, so I'm going to try again today to read. Oh, and Zeke is here with me too, so we might hear him bark if somebody walks by. I'm going to read to you the chapter called The Sailboat Race. When the people in Central Park learned that one of the toy sailboats was being steered by a mouse in a sailor suit, they all came running. Soon the shores of the pond were so crowded that a policeman was sent from port headquarters to announce that everybody would have to stop pushing, but nobody did. People in New York sometimes push. The most excited person of all was the boy who owned the Lillian B. Womrab motorboat. He was a big boy of 12 named Leroy. He wore a blue suit and a white necktie. "Come back here," he yelled to Stuart. "Come back here and get on my boat. I want you to steer my boat. I will pay you $5 a week and you can have every Thursday afternoon off and a radio in your room." "I thank you for your kind offer," replied Stuart, "but I am happy aboard the Wasp, happier than I have ever been before in all my life." And with that he spun the wheel over smartly and headed his schooner down toward the starting line, where Leroy was turning his boat around by poking it with a long stick, ready for the start of the race. So remember, these are small little boats, so a person doesn't fit in them. So a person is going to have to steer it with a stick. "I'll be the referee," said a man in a bright green suit. "Is the Wasp ready?" "Ready, sir," shouted Stuart, touching his hat. "Is the Lillian B. Womrath ready?" asked the referee. "Sure I'm ready," said Leroy. "To the north end of the pond and back again," shouted the referee. "On your mark, get set, go!" "Go!" cried the people. "Go!" cried the owner of the Wasp. "Go!" yelled the policeman. And away went the two boats for the north end of the pond, while the seagulls wheeled and cried overhead, and the taxicabs tooted and honked from 72nd Street, and the west wind, which had come halfway across America to get to Central Park, sang and whistled in the rigging and blew spray across the deck, stinging Stuart's cheeks with tiny fragments of flying peanut shells tossed up from the foamy deep water. "This is the life for me," Stuart murmured to himself. "What a ship, what a day, what a race!" Before the two boats had gotten many feet, an accident happened on shore. The people were pushing each other harder and harder in their eagerness to see the sport. Although they didn't really mean to push, they pushed the policeman so hard they pushed him right off the concrete wall and into the pond. He hit the water in the sitting position and got wet clear up to the third button of his jacket. He was soaked. This particular policeman was a bigger man, but he had just eaten a really big meal, and the wave he made, curling outside, cresting and billowing, upsetting all manners of the small little boats, and causing every owner of the little boats on the pond to scream with delight. Must have been quite a sight to see. When Stuart saw the great wave approaching from the policeman falling in, he jumped for the rigging, but it was too late. Towering above the Wasp like a mountain, the wave came crashing and piling along the deck, caught Stuart up and swept him over and aside and into the water, where everybody supposed he had drowned. Stuart had no intention of drowning. He kicked hard with his feet and thrashed with his tail, and in a minute or two he climbed back aboard the boat. He was cold and wet, but not harmed. As he took his place at the helm of the boat, he could hear people cheering for him and calling, "Add a mouse, Stuart, add a mouse!" He looked over and saw that the wave had capsized or turned over the Lillian B. Womrab, but that she had righted herself. She got back right up and was sailing on her course close by. And she stayed close alongside till both boats reached the north end of the pond. Here Stuart put the Wasp about and Leroy turned the Lillian around with his stick, and away the two boats went for the finish line. The race isn't over yet, thought Stuart. The first warning he had that there was trouble ahead came when he glanced into the Wasp's cabin and observed that the barometer had fallen sharply. It's a little a little tool that measures the pressure in the air. That could only mean one thing at sea: bad weather. Suddenly a dark cloud swept across the sun, blotting it out and leaving the earth in a shadow. Stuart shivered in his wet clothes. Everybody shiver. Shiver like you're cold. Oh. He turned up his sailor blouse closer around his neck, and when he spied the Wasp's owner among the crowd on shore, he waved his hat and called out, "Bad weather ahead, sir! Wind backing into the southwest, seas confused, glass flailing." "Never mind the weather," cried the owner. "Watch out, dead ahead." Stuart peered ahead into the gathering storm, but saw nothing except gray waves and white crests. The world seemed cold and ominous and dark. Stuart glanced behind him. There came the sloop, boiling along fast, rolling up a bow wave and gaining steadily. Stuart strained his eyes, and suddenly, dead ahead, right in the path of his boat, he saw an enormous paper bag. Are you thinking, what could a paper bag do to a tiny little boat like that? You should be wondering that. Stuart spun the wheel of the boat over, but it was too late. The Wasp drove her bow straight into the bag, and with a fearful whoosh, the boat slowed down and came up into the wind with all sails flapping. Just at that moment, Stuart heard a big crash, saw the bow of the Lillian, the other boat, plow straight into him, and felt the whole ship tremble from tip to stern with the force of the collision. "A collision!" shouted the crowd on shore. In a jiffy, the two boats were in a terrible tangle. Little boys on shore screamed and danced up and down. Meanwhile, the paper bag sprang a leak and began to fill with water. The Wasp couldn't move because of the bag. The Lillian B. Womrath couldn't move because her nose of the boat was stuck in the Wasp boat. Waving his arms, Stuart ran forward and fired off a gun. Then he heard above the other voices on the shore the voice of the owner of the Wasp yelling. So that's what they'll do sometimes on a boat. If there's a lot of trouble, they'll shoot off a flare gun so that people know where they are, and that signals to people that there's trouble. The voice of the owner of the boat yelling directions and telling Stuart what to do. "Stuart! Stuart! Down! Stay sail!" Stuart jumped up and came rippling down. "Cut away all the paper bag!" roared the owner. Stuart whipped out his pocket knife and slashed away bravely at the soggy bag until he had cleared the deck. "Now back up and give her a full speed ahead!" screamed the owner of the Wasp. Stuart grabbed the boom, the big thing holding the sail, and pulled with all his might. Slowly, his boat began to get headway, started to move, and as she heeled over to the breeze, she rolled her rail out from under the Lillian's nose, under the other boat, shook free, and stood away to the southward way. A loud cheer went up from the bank. Stuart sprang back to the wheel. Then he looked back, and to his great joy he saw that the Lillian had gone off in a bad direction and was going all over the pond. Straight and true sailed the Wasp with Stuart at the bow. After she had crossed the finish line, Stuart brought her alongside the wall and was taken ashore and highly praised for his fine seamanship and daring. There he is, getting praise. The owner was delighted and said it was the happiest day of his life. He introduced himself to Stuart, said that in a private life he was Dr. Paul Carey, a surgeon dentist. He said model boats were his hobby and that he would be delighted to have Stuart take command of his vessel at any time. Everybody shook hands with Stuart. Well, everybody, that is, except the policeman, who was too wet and mad to shake hands with a mouse. When Stuart got home that night, his brother George asked him where he had been all day. "Oh, walking around town," replied Stuart. Ooh, that Stuart's a little sneaky one, isn't he? All right, so I think that's it for today. I will try to do this again tomorrow. And you guys keep working really hard on Seesaw. You guys are doing a great job. On Friday, we're going to have the math test pushed out to you on Seesaw. And you're going to do that as best as you can on your own. Parents, please let them do it on their own. I also sent out a Sign Up Genius on Seesaw that if kids or parents want to chat with me about anything, if you want to talk to me about how you're stressed out about this, if you want to talk to me about how you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, anything, if you want to talk to me about how Zeke is, just let me know. You can sign up for a time and we can do a video chat together. All right, I'm going to show Zeke's leg. He's been a great dog. Zeke, he's not too, Zeke, look at the camera. Okay, he is pretty deaf too, guys. He can't hear much at all. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.